What's up, YouTube? This is going to be our guide on how to use Mightyena in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun me movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, please put it below in the comment section of the video. And if you enjoy these videos, they help you out, they get you thinking, drop a like on the video and let's get into it. So I don't know how many of you will actually be using this Pokemon, but I wanted to do a moveset on anyway, because I actually did a Pokemon, a Mightyena sweep earlier on, so I thought I'd give it a go. Now, Mightyena actually has a very, very good ability. It has Moxie, which is definitely the best thing about it. We got Intimidate, which is a nice ability as well, and we've got Quick Feet, which is more of a gimmicky ability. Now, looking at overall stats at Mightyena, it really, really is... Well, it's not that great. Its standout stats are its attack, and even that isn't super duper amazing, so it doesn't really hit all that hard. Now, the best way I feel to use a Mightyena is a late game sweeper with Moxie, especially in singles. So I'm going to do some singles builds and some doubles builds and some fun builds as well. So let's have a look at the first one. So we've got Mightyena as a Life Orb Moxie sweeper here. Now, my suggestion if you are going to use Mightyena, I would definitely have some Sticky Web and Stealth Rock and Spikes present, because it really does struggle to faint Pokemon at the start. You really need this Moxie ability to snowball, and once you've got a couple of boosts up in attack, you're good to go. It's just that initial play there. Quite often, it's good to swap it in against a Pokemon which has a lower amount of health. At least then, at the worst, you'll cause a swap, because I think you've got Moxie. So that's how I would play Mightyena for sure, because you're not going to be one-shotting Pokemon from the start, and it's very frail too. So you just have to be aware of how to use it. So the moves I would put on there, it gets Sucker Punch, which is a really, really nice move there to make up for its average speed. I've got Play Rough, and I've got Psychic Fangs and Ice Fang. Now, there's a couple of other moves that you could add in, depending on what sort of set you're going for. Here, I'm going for a Terra-type Dark set to boost up the power of Sucker Punch, which you absolutely can do. Now, Sucker Punch is quite a predictable move, like, once you see it actually getting used. So, another thing you can run, if you don't want to run... These are more coverage moves here. This is more for, like, Psychic Fangs, I would say, is, like, just extra coverage or screens and stuff. So, you could forego that and give it Crunch. Now, it might seem a little weird to have Crunch and Sucker Punch on the same set, but why I suggest that would definitely be for if the opponent does try and start stalling you, or just use status moves when you're using Sucker Punch, or just PP stalling it. And there's not a lot of PP there. You've only got 8 at max, so it's very, very easily expended there. So that's why I would probably have Crunch on there too. You can have other variants of it. Like, say if you've got Sticky Web down the field, that might help you out. You don't have to spam Sucker Punch as much. That's another option there. I do have some other speed options for Mightyena in the next couple of sets. So that's an option you can go for. Another Terra type that I quite like to run on it is Fairy, because this actually resists its main, it's one of its main weaknesses, of course, is fighting Pokemon, right? So you've got fighting Pokemon, like moves like U-turn or bug moves and stuff like that. So that's going to resist those, which is going to be, quite nice for sure. So that's probably what I would run. You can have a powerful Play Rough, or you can have Terra Blast if you want to there, if you don't want to have any, 90% accuracy and stuff like that. So that's how I would run Mightyena for sure. And swap it in when you know you can feint the Pokemon, right? And then you can get the Moxie going. That's what I would go for there. Or if it's obvious what you're trying to do, swapping it on a low health Pokemon, anticipate the swap in. Look at your opponent's team, know what they're going to swap in, and then go for your attacking move. And that way, you might be able to create a sweep there. So that's how I would go about using Mightyena. As for items, I've got Life Orb here. Life Orb's a pretty good item. It allows it some more extra damage output, which, of course, is always very good on Mightyena because its attack isn't so good. With its stats, I've got Jolly Nature, and I've got Max Attack and Max Speed. Now, you could opt to go for Adamant Nature. When you opt to go for Adamant Nature, you do get a fair bit more attack, but your speed is quite garbage, so it makes you tend to rely a lot on Sucker Punch, so just sort of like be aware of that. I like running Jolly because that way you can outspeed a few more things. Not too many more things, but a few. Especially if you've got like web support on the field from another Pokemon. As for alternative items, you could possibly give it Lumberry, which would work there for it being status. That could definitely work. I guess the good thing about if there's any like prankster Pokemon, you can get around any prankster moves, which is good, but there's still a lot of Pokemon which are faster. So yeah, you've got Lumberry. Another one you might run on this to give it like a little surprise bolt. You could give it Assault Vest. That's another one, so it might be able to take a special move a little bit better. Not like super duper better, but a little bit better is another way you could possibly do it. Another one which I thought could be interesting could be Adrenaline Orb too. So Adrenaline Orb, let me bring that up. That acts in, you get a speed boost there if you get affected by Intimidate. That's kind of situational though, but I'd probably just roll with either that, Life Orb, or Expert Belt's not a bad one as well. Or Black Glasses, because let's face it, you're going to be using your Dark type move a lot of the time, so I would go for Black Glasses as another item too. So that's what my set would be for a physical sweeping Moxie late game sweeper. Now, it does have some other options here, which I want to mention too. This set I'd run kind of similar. The only difference is it has access to Howl. Now, Howl really isn't the greatest boosting move in the world, and Mightyena does actually struggle to get these stat boosts up because it's very, very frail. However, if you do find yourself able to get a boosting move up, you can go for Howl. This is going to boost your attack by only one stage. It'd be better if it had Sword Dance, but unfortunately it doesn't. I wish it got Sword Dance because that would, that would give it a lot more presence, attacking presence. Now, the other move it gets, since it's now in Scarlet and Violet, is Trailblaze. So this could somewhat make up for its bad speed, and that way you wouldn't allow yourself to rely on Sucker Punch a lot of times. So we've got a Howl, Trailblaze, Crunch, and Terra Blast Fairy set. You could play rough on there if you want to as well. I gave this Citrus Berry, which is going to allow it to maybe get a Howl up, and then it won't be like vulnerable to like priority moves. After a couple of Trailblazers, it's actually quite fast. So even if you get one of them up, it's reasonably fast, especially if you've got some sort of like web support on the field and other things like that. That could definitely work for sure. There's quite a few Pokemon that learn Sticky Web and other things like that too. So that would be my move. So Crunch, Terra Blast Fairy, and Trailblaze. The only thing about this set, it can be walled fairly easily, so you might want to drop... you could drop Terra Blast. You could absolutely drop that and just give it Terra Blast Dark. And then I would give it... I would probably give it something like Psychic Fangs or Ice Fang. Because I'm thinking about like poison type Pokemon. That's going to be quite kind of an issue there. Like something, I don't know, like Galar Weezing. That could, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think like Pokemon that would counter that. So yeah, maybe Psychic Fangs. That could also get rid of some screens as well. But it is a little bit limited, but that's another way. Or you could sort of put these sets together if you feel like, well, Ice Fang, I can forego that, I'll give it Trailblaze instead. Maybe you want to use that set instead, and then you could drop Sucker Punch, those sort of things. So you might be able to merge these two sets together as well. So that's another way of actually using this Pokemon. So that's pretty much my Moxie sweeping sets. Let's have a look at a physical defenses set. I know you're probably going to laugh and think, oh, it's terrible defenses, but it can somewhat serve all right. I use this set myself, and it's actually not all that bad. So we've got the EV Spreader's max health and max defense, and the last little bit into special defense. Now, with the ability to Intimidate, that's going to be great against any physical attackers, and we've run this one very defensive. So the idea is to swap it in there to tank a powerful physical move there, and I've got on this Super Fang. So Super Fang is going to give you a nice chunk of damage there against the opponent, because we're foregoing all offense on this build, so we need to be able to do something. So Super Fang's good for that. Take a nice chunk of damage, and maybe one of your other Pokemon on your team can, that might turn into a one-hit KO there. I've also got Snarl as well. That's quite good at dropping the opponent's special attack, giving Mightyena a little bit of a chance maybe to rest off here and go for a Sleep Talk. So it's a Rest Talk set that's physically defensive. Item is going to be Leftovers. As for Terra type, I gave it Terra Flying because I didn't think that's all that bad either, because say you've got a fighting move aimed at you, or a bug move, you can go Terra Flying, and that resists both of them. So that could be a good one to go for. Fairy's another one you could use as well. So flying fairy, I wouldn't really be tearing. I wouldn't be tearing this set because, yeah, there's probably better Pokemon to use your Territorialize on. But yep, that's the physical defensive bulky build. Now, funny enough, this Mightyena set, the bulky one, I feel like this is better in doubles than like the Moxie one, because in doubles you just can't get those Moxies up quick enough, and it's not really going to work all that well. So let's have a look at this. So we've got a defensive set like the physical defensive one I just showed. And we've got PIMPNITE, so same sort of build there. We got Snarl, which is good. That's going to drop the special attack of the opponents by 1, which is a nice doubles move. We've got Helping Hand here, so I would use this as a pure support set. So Helping Hand to boost the allies' moves by 1.5, really good. Whacked on Protect, which is going to be quite good too in doubles. Seeing what moves are, seeing what moves they're going to use against you. Creating stuff. And we've also got Super Fang too, which is a good move there to get some quality damage against an opponent. If you can get like half their health gone, and then your physically or especially offensive ally does some damage, afterwards or swapping in, that's actually pretty good. Intimidate to drop any attack, and we've got Chopper Berry too for any fighting type moves. You could kind of move that to any item you like there, leftovers, citrus berries, stuff like that. That could be another one you could actually use there. I wouldn't be tearing this, but if I was going to go Terra, I'd go Terra Flying or Terra Fairy. That's pretty much all I would go for there. EV spread the same, already mentioned that. But yeah, that's another way of possibly running Mightyena if you wanted to. Let's think about something. Let's think about more of a physical set. If you wanted to run a physical one in doubles or singles, let's think about this. So we're gonna go Adamant here. I want to see how good a choice set would be. So let's go with like, I'm gonna build this one tanky. So we got max health and max attack. Put the last little bit into defense. We'll go Intimidate. We could go Intimidate or Moxie, one of the two. So we're going to get rid of these moves there. I'm just making this on the fly. So Sucker Punch, of course, is going to be quite nice there for sure. Get rid of Chopper Berry too. Not that couldn't be a bad item. We could go Assault Vest here for some extra special bulk, because we've got Intimidate working for physical moves and Assault Vest for special. Let's keep that. I like that. So we got Sucker Punch. I would probably give it... you'd have to give it Play Rough just for coverage reason or fighting Pokemon. So either one of these here could work. Let's give it Play Rough. And then we've got like some other moves. We've got like Ice. Ice Fang's pretty good. Like that would be good against, I don't know if you were using against a Landorus or Gliscor or something like that. Like Dragonite, a 4 times weak Pokemon could be quite good. Facade would be situational if you did get burned or something like that. Or status, that could maybe work for you. Another move you got is Lash Out too. So you could also have Lash Out instead of Crunch, more so in doubles. That could be another option you could use. Or you could replace that with Crunch as well. So that's more of a physical set that you could use. Or you could go Choice Band. The only thing I don't like about Choice Band is Choice Band Sucker Punch is very, very bad news, because you can get worked around very, very easily there. So you might be better off going like Choice Band Crunch or something, or Lash Out or something like that. So that's another way you could possibly use Mightyena there for sure. Let's think about some teammates. Well, this is going to be very, very broad, because you could use any... There's so many examples you could use. Like any like powerful special attacking, physical attacking Pokemon, for sure. Anything that's going to resist like... Alright, let's go for example, any fairy Pokemon are going to resist a lot of that stuff. Like you've got like Clefable, Enamorous. Well, that's really good, because that quad resists fighting and your Bug as well. That's like that's like a perfect sort of swap in there, and that would work very, very nicely. But any fairy or flying Pokemon will work very, very well. At least to swap into or as a partner. And as for like that bulky set I was talking about, any sort of like Pokemon that are physical or special Pokemon that Helping Hand set would work very nicely with them alongside them. I don't think many people are going to use Mightyena. As for counters, it has so many counters. So I'm trying to give something. any like real physical defensive Pokemon, just for example, like it could be absolutely, like here we go, like Avalugg. I don't know not many people are going to use Avalugg, but seriously, like any defensive Pokemon that have like a massive defense stat, like Mightyena can't do anything to them, especially if it hasn't got a Moxie up or any Moxies at all. It's going to get wrecked. Just trying to think, any fighting type Pokemon, they're really going to destroy it because the only real thing it can do is like play rough, and if it doesn't have any like boost up, it's going to do like virtually nothing to it. Whereas something like Great Tusk is going to absolutely like dominate it. So there's so many things that can go wrong using this Pokemon. Another move too, which really destroys, I wonder if this has it, is Sub. Like, I'm not saying like Great Tusk an example, but a substitute Pokemon can really be bad against Mightyena, especially because it relies on Sucker Punch a lot. So just bear that in mind. Any stalling Pokemon and stuff like that, and any faster Pokemon that can take or live a Sucker Punch is going to be very bad as well. I'm trying to think if there's any other Pokemon that could work well with it. Let's think, for example, like super specific, apart from Enamorus, maybe like, I'm thinking like Skuntank. That wouldn't be bad. Like, that would be okay. Trying to think of some other ones, like, I think I'm just going to say fairy, like any fairy or flying Pokemon. I'll leave it at that. Let's have these are all the fairy Pokemon you could possibly like use with it. That's quite a few of them. But like I said, I don't know if anyone is going to use Mightyena, but I just wanted to use this anyway. Let's have a look at a special trash set. So Mightyena actually gets Nasty Plot, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't get Sword Dance, but it gets Nasty Plot, which kind of boggles me. But, you know, that's how it is. I reckon it'd be a great buff for it. So with this Nasty Plot set, it gets 60 base special attack, which is dreadful, and its speed is 70, so it's not all that good. Now, to make up for its speed stat, we're going to be using Quick Feet here. So we're going to give it Flame Orb, so that's going to give it a Quick Food boost there of 1.5, which is going to be quite good. And let's face it, we're going to need to run Modest Nature, because if you run Timid Nature, yeah, so its special attack is even more dreadful. So I would run Modest there. Yeah, and then you've got the Quick Feet to boost its speed there by 1.5. At least it'll be reasonably fast. So you've got Nasty Plot to boost its special attack, and we've got Dark Pulse for stab and flinching. Terra Blast Fire, because you're going to be terrified facing this, and we will Terra Blast Fairy, Flying, Dark, anything like that. And I've got Hyper Voice as well as just a move to get around Substitute, you know what I mean? Now, for argument's sake, you could run Throat Spray on this as well. That's another way you could run this. At least Hyper Voice would boost up its attack. Say, for example, you had a Pokemon that was on a low amount of health. You went Nasty Plot, and you lived the attack, and then you went for Hyper Voice and finished them off. That could give you another +1 there, but that's very situational. I quite like the Flame Orb set best, because at least then you know you're going to get like a speed boost then. There's going to be like so many Pokemon that are going to be faster than this. Another troll set you could run here is as a Swagger play set. This is really scummy, and it's probably not going to work, but if it does work, it's actually pretty fun. So you've got Swagger there to boost up the attack of the opponent. And we've got Foul Play too. So Foul Play is going to use the attack stat in the damage calculation. So it's going to be doing a lot of damage there after those Swaggers. So you get 3 Swaggers and land at Foul Play. Oof, that's going to do a lot of damage. We got Rest there to heal ourselves off. And of course, we got everybody's favorite Mudslap there to drop the accuracy of the opponent. So if they do get through the confusion, which they probably will, you might be able to dodge a couple of attacks there. Bright Powder as the item, Quick Feet as the ability, Max Health and Max Speed, Jolly Nature. So there you go. We got Terra type Ghost as well. I thought it might be good for like a fighting type Pokemon or something like that. But I mean, it's probably not going to work, but it could be fun if you're doing some memes and having a fun battle, or a casual fun battle. You might be able to get a Swagger playset to work. Sort of like, it's kind of like a Wish Clef Key. kind of like that. You might be able to give it like, I was thinking like another cool thing you could do. You might be able to give it like Facade, and then you could give it a Flame Orb, and then you could... Yeah, then you could at least hit with Facade for a bit of damage and then Flame Orb. But that's another way you could run it as well, like a Flame Orb, something like this set as well, like with Flame Orb and Facade. That could be another option for a physical set, you know? But there you go. If you wanted to run that one, you go like this, and then at least Facade would do something. And maybe you could go like Howl the first turn, and then Facade, and then have like Terra Normal. I know that's not the greatest terror because you're going to still be weak to fighting, but, you know, boosting up that facade for 140 base power could work. It's actually kind of interesting. Then you'd have to worry about Steel-type Pokemon and Ghost-type Pokemon, so I would go for, like, Crunch or Sucker Punch. That could work. But the problem is then you're sort of, like, burning yourself, and then Crunch is not going to do anything, so it's kind of terrible unless you're just running Facade, so... Yep, we're just going to have Facade as our only attacking move. What else can we have here? We're running some memes here for sure. Maybe you could have like a Yawn set to make them swap. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something incredible here. I was thinking you could go like Swagger and Psych Up, but it doesn't even have that. That's not very good. So you got like a Facade. You could have, you know what? You could have let's do Toxic Orb. There we go. We got Toxic Orb. Beautiful stuff there. So we've got Howl, Facade, Crunch. It's going to be alive for about 3 turns, but it's going to hit pretty hard with Facade. And then you could have like, yeah, well, that's good. I was thinking like Terror Poison, but you got Crunch, Facade. So you got like a Wait It Goes, Steel, you have Neutral, and then maybe you could put on... I'm trying to look at this other move. You got Ice Fang there. Fighting type Pokemon. I'd probably just use Facade against them. And then you've got Crunch, Steel. I don't know. It doesn't really get much other good things here. That's the only thing. Or you probably put on Sucker Punch if you get outspeed. But that's pretty much it for Mightyena. I will show you like the rest of its moves that it gets. It is pretty limited for sure. And I doubt many people are even going to use it. But you know, as you know, I like to do all sort of like Pokemon and look at every aspect. So we've got Nasty Plot, which is a great boosting move. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the stats or bulk to be able to do that well. We got Protect, Rest. Raw might be able to work on like maybe like bulky set. You might be able to do it with like Raw and Stealth Rocks or something, or like on your team. It gets Yawn, it gets Taunts. We got Charm, Helping Hand. We sort of went over that. How we did that. Interesting enough, it gets Rain Dance and Sunny Day. I have no idea why it gets that, which is pretty cool. And we got Swagger as well. As for its physical moves, it does get good moves. It doesn't really have the stats to back it up, though. So we've gone over Crunch. It gets a couple of the Elemental Fang moves, which is kind of cool, but they don't really hit that hard unless it's going to be 4 times. And yeah, that's pretty much it for its physical moves. We've sort of covered most of those. As for its special moves, very, very limited, of course. So, yeah, I think that's about it for Mightyena, people. There's not too much else to mention about it. I hope you found this interesting, at least, if you ever consider using Mightyena. I did a Mightyena sweep already on my channel, so if you want to check it out, it was pretty fun. And that's about it. Peace out, people.